team, family, squadron, we back. We're sitting around the table. We got our co-host, Garth Massey, and we have an absolute treat planned for you today. 3-time Golden Door winner, $1 million man. You know him, you love him, you've seen him. The Bloodhound, Charles Chucky Mills, has come with hot bars and is ready to bless us here on the pad. I can't wait to get into it. But as for right now, welcome out to yet another episode of The Landing Pad.
Season 6, Chucky Mills, we're here. This might not be the first podcast dropped for Season 6, but it's the first one that we're recording. We're doing things a little different this season, and it feels right, but it feels even more right sitting across the table from the Bloodhound. Welcome, Chucky Mills.
Let's go, baby. We're here.
You're here, dude. You're here.
I'm stoked.
You fought the good fight.
We did.
You made it happen, and you had yet another record summer.
It was amazing.
You're back.
Done.
And you're back.
We're back.
Just so everybody knows, before we get into it, the season 6 is going to look a little bit different. What we want it to kind of look like, we're going to just kind of get right into it. What are your thoughts on that, Easton?
It feels right.
It does.
It feels like we're growing. It feels like the character development of the pad is in the right place, and it's where it needs to be.
Exactly. So, because actually this might not be the first podcast you listen to, we should probably just get right into it.
I'm in.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, Chucky, before we get started, though, the dogs want to get to know the Golden Door guys. What makes them tick, who they are, where they're from, what does the future hold? So, Chucky, you're from Atlanta.
Yep.
And you just bought a house in Atlanta. You're migrating back to the motherland.
We are going back.
Talk about it. You, Jess, where are you guys buying the house?
It's time. So it's like north of Atlanta, about an hour. It's like 30 minutes from my parents. I grew up in Alpharetta, which is like 30 minutes north of Atlanta. But yeah, we're stoked to move back out there and kind of still obviously be with the grit and all the capacities that we can, but just kind of have a different flavor of the off season. And
love that. The house looks amazing. I'm sure Jess is stoked.
Yeah. Oh,
Beautiful home.
She's super
3/4 acre plot, Atlanta, Georgia.
It's a
probably a
wonderful
peach
thing.
tree growing in the front yard. Like
It's a wonderful thing.
all the things. Outdoor patio, fan, outdoor
Wraparound
TV,
porch,
college football,
little rocking chair for Chucky Mills.
barbecue, hot tub.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You're going to be in such a
gonna
great
be
spot. And that being said,
yeah.
it's also a great time to be Chucky Mills because this guy, not only is he a Cowboys fan, which they're looking, like I said, it's September 20th, so a lot can still happen for our good old Cowboys. But you're also a Braves fan.
Hey,
You're just in a good spot right now.
I am in a great spot.
Georgia fan, Braves fan,
And
Cowboys
look,
fan.
I did my dues. I paid
did.
my time. The Braves did not win a World Series since like 1996 was the last
Yeah.
one before. So last year was sick, and then obviously they're the best team in the league this year.
Yep. And it's
then-
not close.
Cowboys are scary.
They are actually scary.
Yeah, we can go forever on that because Micah Parsons looks a lot like Reggie White nowadays.
Oh my gosh.
So before we get lost in that rabbit hole, dude, how do you feel? Life on the other side, top 5 again, weird.
Dude,
Interesting.
I feel good.
It was bizarre.
Interesting.
You know, and we'll get more into this as we go along, but it feels great. It's like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that tells you can't do it, and when you finally do, it's so worth it. And you know, it's just so worth it to hit your goals and feel that sense of accomplishment. And
Dude, actually a question. I'm going to go through your stats right now. I'm going to ask you the question after that. So Charles Mills, you guys sitting across the table, is a legend. If, like I said, I'm going to go through his numbers. Those that need to hear these for the second, third, fourth time, they are just as impressive and
wild
as you hear them the first time. 2019 Green X, 181K, 329 accounts. 2020, 410K, 653 accounts. 2021, 705K, 1,003 accounts. 2022, 702K, 795 accounts. And this last summer, you put 1011K, which is a million for those that need to know. 1,900, whatever. You did a million in rep.
however that shakes out.
Short circuit, bail out.
That being said, Chuck, you have hit your goal, it looks like, on paper at least, every single year that you've gone out to sell. Have you?
Yeah.
Literally. Dude, so many people, do they do it once, and then, I don't know if they do it again. Maybe they do it again. But what does it feel like? Does it feel different every year going out and accomplishing your goal? And talk to me about this year. How did this year feel different than the other years of hitting your goal?
Yeah. So I think that part of like, you set a goal and we talked about this a ton at GPS, right? It's like part of hitting your goal is actually all of the crap that you have to deal with. And I think that's actually where like I feel like I personally get ahead of a lot of other people is I just know that that's part of it and I expect it. And it's like the more crap I have to deal with, like great.
Yeah.
Because if I can withstand it, I know that it will lead to a greater result. And that is like for sure something about this year that was totally different because obviously I dealt with a lot more crap this year than I ever have.
Yeah.
I had start out, like I had some family like health issues that I had to deal with, which was pretty hard mentally. And then like I literally got bit by 2 German Shepherds this year, actually. One of the cases though, that was pretty sick.
For the record, not many people how many dogs have you been bit by? 3 now in your knocking career?
3.
And
3.
And they've been actually like gnarly bites. Dude, it's when
actually bad ones.
When a dog just senses an alpha on their porch, when the dog senses the bloodhound on their premises, I might bite Chuck too.
They're a little on edge.
They're on edge.
That's just my turf, man.
It's the bloodhound too, dude. It's top dog.
But
sorry,
yeah,
keep going.
so anyways, that, and then obviously, there's always stuff with techs and with where you are with the circumstances. And it's like, I think that's honestly it. I ask myself, like, am I actually all in?
Yeah.
Actually, like, do people actually ask themselves that? And I think it's just something that like we want to say that we are, but then it's like, well, this happened, so that's a good enough reason for me to call it. Or like, well, this area is this, so that's a good enough reason for me to call it. Or like, it can be anything, right? This is going on at home. I have this to deal with. And it's like, there's always like a reason that's like people chalk up and they're like, okay, yep, that's the reason. Like, that's why it doesn't make sense anymore. And I literally think it's just like the definition of being all in is like, there's no room for those things. It's like, there's no room for complacency. There's no room for self-doubt. There's no room for overthinking. Because like you sacrificed way too much already. Like I personally have sacrificed way too much already for me to like look at Jess and be like, yeah, it doesn't make sense anymore. I can't do that. It's literally not in my like core or personality. And it's like, I can't look at myself. I couldn't look at anybody else and be like, yeah, this happened. And so that's why. I just can't do it. I'm all in, right? And when I make that decision, it's like, I don't care what happens if I have to go to freaking Rhode Island to finish. Like, I don't care what the circumstances, like I will get it done. And so I think that's something that's like, you got to look introspectively and say, are you all in? And if you can really look yourself in the mirror, then there's not any room for any of the other stuff. And when it does come along, and it will be way worse than you thought it would be. Like it truly will. If you want to like be great, then you're okay with that. And you understand that is literally part of the equation, right? The crap will always stack the highest when you are trying to achieve something that is like really, something that's like an awesome achievement. Like the crap will be the highest for that. And you can't expect it to be easy. You got to expect the hard and it will come. But if you're all in it, it just doesn't matter.
The pile of things to deal with is proportionate to the size of the goal that you're trying to tackle.
Exactly.
I love. It might be a Drake bar, and it's I haven't come this far to only come this far.
Exactly.
And to me, like that's what Chuck is saying is, I haven't come all this way, done all this, sacrificed this, that, the other, living cross country, working insane, heinous hours to only come this far.
Yeah.
And it's very clear. I mean, there's like a palpable change in the energy in the room we're recording this in when Chuck starts talking about like sacrifice and being all in. It's like, oh no, this is someone who actually believes what's coming out of his mouth right now. Like he actually truly 100% has bought in with every fiber of his mental capacity to this identity of I get things done and I finish the job.
Something so crazy. I still remember getting the call from Chuck from the first dog bite, right? And the craziest thing, like when we sit down with these guys, I don't want anybody listening to think that like these guys don't have emotions and hardships, right? Like I'm going to go out on a limb and talk about Chuck right now. Like Chuck called me, dude, you were like, I don't want to say done because you're obviously not done, but dude, you were in a dark spot. You're like, dude, I'm just done with this crap. Like I'm tired of getting just ravaged by dogs, dude. And it was like a moment that like in my mind, I was like, I'm so not worried. Like I had to put on the front. Like I tried to be empathetic. Like this isn't the Chuck that I know I'm going to be talking to in a week. So my conversation like, oh damn Chuck, I'm sorry, dude. Like, but guess what? I know for a fact in 1 week, you're going to text me, be like, dude, I'm him. I'm back. I'm ready to go. So the people that we're sitting down with, dude, you guys are so much more similar to like people that are listening to this podcast. You are so much more similar to these heroes that sit at this table than you guys realize. Some people like think that, oh, they are just on another level. They never waver. They clock in, they clock out. It is just robots. Yeah, they have their quote unquote trials and struggles. But no, I remember getting that phone call and you were just like, dude, I'm just tired of this crap. I'm done. I'm done.
I literally said that.
Yeah. And then literally the next day, I think you ripped like 12 after getting bit by a dog, or like that next Monday, like taking a couple. Long story short, dude, I knew for a fact that I'd be sitting across the table from Charles Mills in 2 months after he had done 1,000 accounts, done 1 million. Why? That's who you are. You just said it. It's in your being. I knew for a fact, yeah, that dog bite, that sucks. It's a setback.
Major setback.
It's going to set you back 3 days, right? Because it's, dude, when you get bit by a dog, you're scared of dogs then, like you're a little timid. I knew the bloodhound was going to bounce back because I knew how bad you wanted it. A plus B equals C, right? You wanted C so bad that the B, the crap, it just didn't matter for you. Right? And I thought that was so interesting.
And it's an equation, right? Like, dude, the B has to be high because it's literally, it's being added to the A, right? So it's like, dude, if your B isn't high, neither is your C, right?
Yes.
And so it's like, dude, those things just come along, and you should honestly not, I think it's weird to say be grateful for it, but it's like, dude, you should just understand that, dude, that will happen. It just will.
I love being able to have like a frame of reference for all the other Golden Door interviews that we've done and all the other podcasts that we've done with top 1% performers in whatever industry that they're in. And there's this common thread of what Chuck is explaining where there's this different approach, this different paradigm towards failure and towards setbacks. It's almost like these 1% performers and people have conditioned themselves to like seek the setbacks because they know on the other side of setbacks is the most major come ups and comebacks of all time.
Yeah.
And so it's like, dude, dog bites, sure. Like whatever piles up, totally. Because on the other side of it, like if I know that I'm going through all this, if my inputs are sure, well, it means on the other side of it, I'm due for something massive. $1 million summers, 1,000 account summers, massive impact, beautiful homes in Atlanta. Like that's what's on the other side of the B pile. Most people, unlike Chuck, are just never willing to push by it.
And the crazy thing about it too, right, Chuck, is, dude, in this all, it is like so much of the crap that piles up, it comes from working so hard too, right? You're not getting bit by a dog if you're not on the doors. No. You're not waking up a baby in the middle of her nap if you're not on the doors by 10 a.m.
For sure.
Right? You're not getting the cops called on you because you're knocking doors at 10 p.m. at night. Dude, a lot of that stuff is just crap that piles up from doing what? From grinding. Yep. Right? Like seeing that giant German Shepherd and continuing to pitch. Like a lot of people see those German Shepherds, they're like, oh, let me just get you a card and call me back when you you probably sold both of it. But right, like so much of that stuff piles up. Exactly what you've been saying, dude, because you're working so
100%.
hard.
Yeah.
Right.
I think something too that is like an excuse that people let win is, oh, I will do it like next year.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, in the future I'll be able to do that. Like I did this year, so like next year it makes sense. I think that's something so many people fall victim to, and I just think it's so untrue. And I think we are like totally disproving that this year with how well everyone's doing. But it's literally just like the thought of like, if not now, then when? That's something I think about all the time. Dude, if I don't do 1 million this year, when would I do it?
Yeah.
Why would 2024 make more sense than 2023? Like, there's just no reason that it would. And I think that's like another way that, you know, we can all level up is like, dude, there's never a the perfect time is always now. It's always today. When's the perfect time to have a big day? Today.
Yeah.
When's the perfect week to have a big week? This week. Dude, no, it's not next week when you go to this area. It's not next month when you change markets. It's literally today. Like, we create this false reality, right? Where it's like, oh, dude, then I'll be good enough. Or like, oh, dude, this place will be like, then I'll do it. And it's like, we like condition our minds to like believe in this false reality when it's like, no, the perfect time to sell someone is always right now.
Yep.
The perfect time for them to buy is like literally today. It's like, dude, it's always live in the moment. Like, you're as good as you'll ever be. And if you believe in that, like, that will manifest.
I love it. Chuck, this is a question, switching gears a little bit. What was a lesson? Because obviously we're starting to get salty. Like, we're a few summers into this thing, a couple golden, three golden doors under the belt, a couple thousand account summers. You've learned plenty of lessons over your years. And over your course of being a guest on the landing pad, you've dropped some hot bars. My question is, what's a lesson that Chuck learned this summer, specific to 2023, that you'll take with you going forward, not just through sales, but through executing a 1% life?
Yep. I think when we talk about, you know, the 1% life, and people look at that and it's like, oh my gosh, like it's almost like this thing where it's like, dude, they just must be killing it every day. And it's just not really like that, honestly. And the reality is, and I think where some people fall short is, the reality is that it is dark and boring and repetitive and annoying. And like, it just gets like stressful, honestly. It's like that area where you are so uncomfortable and you're just willing to exist in the uncomfortableness for like a long period of time. And I really think that's something that people miss, is like, they get to their limits and then they're done. And it's like, no, dude, you actually don't have any limits. Like, if you keep knocking, you're not going to die. Like, I promise. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Pretty sure. But it feels like it sometimes.
It for sure feels like that. Like, without a doubt. But it's like, but that really is it. It's willing to be incredibly uncomfortable for like an uncomfortable amount of time. And that's something that a lot of people aren't willing to do. And I'll be real, I get it. I totally get why you would be willing to do that. I can actually understand it, because it sucks and it's dark and it's boring. Like, that last month I was out there, and I remember I got to Dallas August 16th. I was 200 accounts away, and I was just like, frick, man, this is not going to be easy. Like, I'm the 25th guy here in Dallas. Like, this is going to be great. Like, and I just remember feeling this wave of just like, dude, what if I just didn't do it? Like, and I just was like, dude, I don't care. It's going to suck. It's going to be dark, but like, this is where I get ahead. This is where I do it. And I actually had my best month ever, accounts wise, from August 16th to September 16th.
Really?
Actually, yeah. But I literally think I was just like, you have to have a level of acceptance. This is going to suck. There's nothing sexy about this. Is this my five months in a row of me going out and having the same 80 conversations? Yep, it is. Is that cool? Is that cool? No, it's not, right? It's like, are there tons of my friends at the beach hanging out golfing? Yep. But like, dude, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how I'm going to get ahead. And I really think that's something that I will take away from this summer, is it's just like, dude, you got to be willing to be uncomfortable for a long time. And that sucks, but you got to be, that's why your why has to be so much bigger than just the goal.
Everything. Well, dude, thinking about this, right? Like it's just funny, right? The morning meetings when they're playing the motivational video with Kobe Bryant and this guy and this guy. Like,
For sure.
At the end of the day, though, realistically, that's all being great is. And I remember when we had old Vesey on, you know, he was just like, dude, you got to fall in love with like the mundane bull crap. Yep. Dude, if you are not okay being uncomfortable, look at Michael Jordan, look at Kobe Bryant, look at every great. Dude, they do, even like, I was getting golf lessons. Shout out to Matt Baird, right? I was getting golf lessons. He's like, yep, my first 30 minutes of every single day, I putt within 3 feet. Then I back it up. Then I back it up. Then I back it up. And I'm just like, how long are you like putting for? He's like, usually like an hour. I'm like, every day, you're putting for an hour every day. Dude, that is so boring.
For sure.
Dude, Kobe Bryant shooting free throws. He probably shot thousands, probably millions, realistically. Dude, it's boring. It's not sexy. Yeah, is winning the million sitting at the table with, is that sexy?
That's
great. It's like fun being on the pod. But dude, it is not sexy getting to the point of being great.
Nope.
Right? And it's like, dude, you just hit the nail on the head so perfectly that anybody that wants to be great at anything, dude, you're not great till you're great. And it's not sexy.
I don't know if I've used this quote on the pod before, but it's an old Vine. It's everybody wants to be Fetty Wap, but nobody want to lose an eye. Everybody wants to be Chuck Mills, and nobody wants to get bit by 3 German Shepherds.
No.
Everybody wants to be Chuck Mills, but no one wants to be the 18th guy there in Dallas in September. But like, truth be told, that's what makes Chuck Mills Chuck Mills.
Yeah.
And the reality is it's also such a culmination of little efforts through an extended period of time. Like, it's because it was April 22nd and it's pouring rain in OKC, and like, I'm going to go out and knock. And maybe I didn't sell a ton of accounts that day. Maybe it was just 6. But dude, it was that day that on September 15th, that was 6 less accounts that I had to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Was 6 more accounts than almost anybody else was doing.
For sure. And it's like, dude, it's your daily effort matters. It matters so much. And that it's like, dude, you gotta have like sense of urgency every day. And even if it's not a great day, it's like, dude, the way I look at it, I had like plenty of days this year. I sold 3 or 4, not plenty, but there was a few. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dude, that day mattered a lot. That was 4 more accounts than I woke up with that morning, you know?
Dude, Chuck, how do you bounce back? And then we'll probably have an ending question. How do you bounce back? I get a lot of phone calls, and these are from great guys, right? Great guys. They're just like, the situation's not perfect. My personal tech called off, whatever it looks like. Dude, sure. I sold 8 accounts today. Yeah. 7 of them canceled. I ended with 1.
Yeah.
And they're in a dark place.
Yep.
You had plenty of those. You've had plenty of those days.
Yep.
What do you say, or how do you bounce back from like when the circumstances like that are just bad?
Yeah. So, dude, I actually love that question because, dude, we create so many false realities that are exactly what they are. They're false realities. Are you going to go out tomorrow, sell 8 again, and have 7 cancel? No.
Yeah.
I promise you won't. So, like, for you to take one day and, like, generalize it to the rest of your experience is, like, it's just a false reality. If you were in one neighborhood that tons of people were pissed about soliciting, does that mean anything about the next neighborhood you're going to? No. It literally means nothing. Yeah. Like, so it's like we create, I think a lot of times when people get in a dark place, it's like because of just this one-off circumstance that it sucked. I don't doubt that it did. But like, dude, it was a one-off circumstance. Like, you don't have to take that thing and then like make it the rest of your experience, because it's like, dude, don't live in a false reality. One person got mad at you, it doesn't mean the next person will. Like, I think a lot of times it's this idea of like people let fear crowd out future opportunities. That is something like I actually believe super strongly about. Like, dude, there's so many opportunities every day, and if we let fear of like past experiences, it crowds out like the room for opportunity, because you're like, oh, frick, this guy got pissed at me yesterday because I talked to him outside. I'm not going to talk to this guy that's outside today. It's like, what, dude? This is a totally different person. Like, that's just such a false
neighborhood, different city.
Yeah, it's such a false reality that we create sometimes. And it's like, I would just say that it's like, guys, like step outside of yourself for a second and just be like, am I creating a false reality? Probably. Like, just live like in the present and like focus on opportunities. Dude, this guy's outside. Dude, that means like he's not in his house. Like he's seeing bugs. Like he's probably going to be a vibe. Maybe he isn't. But it's like, dude, if you don't believe in that, it's like you probably won't run into many opportunities. Yeah, so believe in the opportunities.
I love it, Chuck. It really does seem like you have one of the most pragmatic approaches, and you have simplified this whole door-to-door thing, like, in my opinion, more than almost anyone we've ever talked to.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I know that I have a really big goal. It means I'm going to have like really big problems. And like, yeah, like to be honest, it's like really hard and like it sucks, but I know that's what it's going to take. And so I just do it. And yeah, I just realized that the neighborhoods or the circumstances or situations or different one-ofs that I find myself in are exactly that, one-ofs that probably won't be replicated, and it would be unfair for me to generalize the rest of my experience based off of this really hard or trying 6 hours or 2 days or one area.
Yeah.
And it seems like no matter how many elite sellers that we talk to, like there is still a degree of like this, that, the other thing where the reason why I really love Chuck as a guest is it's like, yeah, this is what it is.
Come what may.
this is what it's like. This is what it is. These are the ins and the outs. I've done it 3 times now, and this is kind of how I like punch in, punch out of this kind of thing. I just think the approach is so unique to Chuck, and it's why he's one of my favorite guests.
It's also just so mature. It's just like, I also feel like this is your third time being on the landing pad
it's
now.
so
dude.
practical.
Yep. I feel like
it's funny.
After every time you come home from a summer, just like actually more grown up, more just like, more like, yep, like I did it again. I learned a lot. I grew up a lot. This is my new outlook on it. And it's like, it's just refreshing. Dude, boys come back men from summer sales, and it's crazy. And men come back with more wisdom and more wisdom. And it's just so interesting.
For sure.
You want to finish it off, East, with the question?
Charles Mills, we've arrived at the last question. What does grit mean to you?
For me, grit, in the simplest way I can sum it up, is how much crap are you willing to go through to do what you need to do? That's what it is to me.
I love
Mic
that.
drop.
I love that.
The rookery is on fire.
You know, we all have our skills and talents, and you know, I think everyone, you know, there's a lot of reasons that everyone can be great, but that is what sets you apart. I remember calling Drew after I sold 1,000 the first time, and I was like, dude, this is just so not a talent thing. It's how much crap are you willing to go through? That's what it is.
Which is so true.
And if it's a lot, you'll probably do a lot. 100%. If it's not a lot, I can pretty much promise you that, you know, you're not going to be, you know, achieving a ton, because that is part of it.
Chuck, I yet again, we walk away from another Charles Mills podcast, just not even like surprised, just feeling good. Feeling good. It feels right. Chuck just obviously gets it. We've said this before, but this is a podcast you should listen to now, before the summer, during the summer. How bad do you want it? Are you really all in? Are you really all in? What's your goal? Crap's going to come. If it's a big goal, guess what? You're dealing with a ton of shit. You just are.
Yep.
So if you have a big goal, strap in, buckle up, because you're going to be dealing with a ton of crap. Are you going to be able to look somebody in the eye and say, you know, it was the second dog bite? If I tell Garth that at the rookery, he'll probably be like, yeah, that's true. You could have ended at 800 because you got bit by 2 German Shepherds. Is it going to be the family stuff that you're dealing with? That's like, oh yeah, that's the reason why I can tell my manager that I didn't do my goal. Don't look for those. Those don't exist if you want it bad enough. Charles, we love you.
One of the greatest to ever knock a door. Thanks for taking the time, Chuck.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
As for this episode of The Landing Pad, we out.